well. Gill is called from Stroud. Hello, Gill.
Hi, Sheila.
What did you want to say?
I agree with the Joseph Rowntree Foundation's findings that growth isn't the answer to poverty is absolute common sense. We've pursued perpetual growth since the 1980s, and during that time, the gap between the wealthy and the poor has grown ever larger. So growth is not a way to look after the ordinary person at all. And in fact, Simon Kuznets, who sort of coined gross domestic product, GDP, in 1934, he did it as a way to try to understand the Great Depression, but he warned it would be a really poor tool for policy making. Growth and GDP are not the way forward.
I hope your line bears up, Jill. It's gone a bit funny at the end there. But when you said that growth is not the way to improve people's lives, it's the way to improve some people's lives, isn't it? If there are... I know we'll get on to who's in a moment, and that's an absolutely valid part of the discussion. But, if an area is thriving because a private company of some sort or a big manufacturer or something has decided to invest there and be there, just as the mine story that we got in the text there was describing in the 80s and earlier than that, if there is investment and employment, then that does improve people's lives, doesn't it?
I think if we look at that kind of thing, then we look at the potential for exploitation as well, don't we? We know you said we would put the who gets the money later in the discussion. Well, that's really important. GDP is a measure of output, and the money, it doesn't. All that money could belong to 5 people, and none go to the other people, and they'll be given the little morsels, the trickle down little bits and pieces that other people can be bothered to give them. Can I just recommend...
Well, that's a rather... hang on. Again, I'm not saying there are no problems with employment rights in this country. There absolutely are. But you're speaking as though all employment is some kind of Victorian workhouse scenario. And it's not, is it?
No. I've just been doing some research and it's led me down that path at the moment. But no, but if people... I've read... can I recommend 2 books? One called Donut Economics by Kate Rayworth, and one called Less is More by Jason Hickel, which are both brilliant on steady-state economics and on degrowth. And there's a movement now within economics and within the teaching of economics at university to move towards this way of thinking. And the old ways of looking at economics, which I'm not an economist, but are fossilised, embedded in fossils aren't flexible things, and we need to move on. And Kate Rayworth's sort of metaphor of the donut is really good. So if you picture a donut, all our economic activities should take part in the bready bit. And if we exceed the external limits of that, well, then we damage the environment, we damage the world we live in. And if we fall into that bit in the middle, we're not looking after the people who matter, as in all the people that governments are elected to protect. And the trouble is, this pursuit of growth is protecting the pockets and interests of the wealthiest and is not designed to look after the poorest.
But you wouldn't claim that it creates no opportunities for ordinary people, would you?
No. Some opportunities will be created, some will be taken away. And, opportunities... I'm not an economist, like I said, but I think...
Neither am I.
Books, they'll be going into much more depth than I'm capable of going into, but I read them and it makes a lot of sense. And in terms of not exceeding our planetary boundaries, which is the ultimate thing, I would just love to hear the government, instead of, a vocab that's less than the average parrot of growth and business and growth and business, imagine they'd put the drive that they've got at the moment into dealing with the climate crisis, which is, no matter how much growth, you can't have infinite growth on a finite planet. Do you remember the Monty Python, Mr. Creosote?
Of course I do, when he explodes.
8 and 8 till he exploded.
One more wafer thin mint, yeah.
He ate all the food, kept it to himself and then exploded. And it just makes common sense that we cannot have infinite growth on a planet that has boundaries. Yeah. We know that. We absolutely know that. And I'm filled with dismay that this government is taking us in this direction. It makes no sense in the light of everything we know that we've got to do. My
25-year-old there or thereabouts colleagues looking at me through the glass have no idea who Mr. Creosote is and thought I'd lost my mind when I talked about
it. I recommend anyone watches it.
Just one wafer thin mint.
Yeah, just one more.
It's so funny.
Grotesque.
Yeah,
it's as grotesque
it is grotesque.
as
you're right.
Some of our system is resulting in at the moment, I think.
Thanks very much, Gill. Thank you for the reading recommendations. Gill in Stroud. Lucy has called from Romford. Hello, Lucy.
Hi, Sheila. How are you?
Hello. You sound too young to remember Mr. Creosote as well.
I do remember Wafer Thin, though.
Oh, you do remember Wafer Thin. Oh, it's come into the vernacular, I think. Anyway, so tell me your story.
Yeah, so I was the last bit of the contributor that you had on. Really, I'm just going to have to ring then.
Go on.
My heart is in my chest.
You'll be fine.
So I'm 35. I have 2 children. I've been on universal credit for 7 years with my parenting responsibilities. Decided I want to be a teacher. And I